What is up, fight fans? We are back for another episode of The Real and the Rare. I'm your host, as always, Steven Rychel. Being joined with me today is Dirty Boxing's heavyweight title challenger, Mr. Rob the Wolf Perez. Rob, appreciate you.
Oh,
Let's get that Wolf Pack howling here. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Before we get deep into everything, as always, I always like to get the our little sponsor shout out the way. And each and every one of these episodes here on the South Florida Tribune is brought to you by Fight Wax. Fight Wax is the only athletes skincare for all your active athletes. They even got stuff for your pets. But it helps treat cut, swelling, and abrasion, rejuvenates and restores stressed skin. Customers have used for soreness, stiffness, recovery, designed for athletes of all active lifestyles. Has an ultra silky, non-greasy feel, deep hydration for everyday skincare. Helps fight dry skins. Customer has used for eczema, psoriasis, and other skin disorders. They got the Fight Wax soap coming out, and again, like I said, they have the stuff for the pet. So, guys, when you're heading out to the checkout, make sure you use that code South 15FW when placing your orders. Now that's out of the way. We got the title challenger here with us today. And again, as I told you right before we got on, I really appreciate the time, my friend. I know we're getting down to the last few weeks here, the last little bit of training.
19 days.
How excited are you? Because I know you were looking to get this title fight a couple times in the past. Had some other big name fights fall out. Obviously, I don't think this is the fight you wanted to have for the title. But whoever is across from you when the contract is signed is who gets belt to asses, right?
Pretty much. I'm gonna say this once, and I'm gonna say it one more time only. For all those people out there that swear I be cherry picking, I don't pick my opponents on DBX. Never have. Even in boxing, I've never picked my opponents. I've always been B-side. That being said, because I got a couple dudes. Even I'm a name drop that Rashad Cutler, the one that just got dropped by El Zombo this weekend. He over here in my DMs talking about, man, I know you could pick your fights. You're just cherry picking. You don't want to fight me. Just say it. I see right, bro. I don't pick my opponents. Anyone can hit up the matchmaker, AJ himself, and he'll tell you the same thing. They hit me up like, yo, they'll say it. Like the first one, oh, we want you to fight Water Buffalo this day. Oh, we want you to fight Zach Payoga this day. We want you to fight. And I say, okay. I don't go, can I get an easier opponent? Can I? No, they give me who they give me, and I put them to sleep. So for all the people out there thinking I be picking my opponents, I don't. Whoever DBX gives me in my way is in my way. I wanted Rosenstrike. He's dealing with his own issues right now, as everyone knows. So this is what they gave me. Garcia is the only other dude that has an undefeated record in DBX, so it makes sense from a DBX standpoint. Does he deserve this interim belt? No. He did not beat Victor. Victor got gassed out and didn't stand back up. And in my book, he didn't even beat Levi. So, what are we talking about? Now all of a sudden he's out there and trying to promote this fight saying he's gonna knock me out. Bro, you have as many fights as I do in amateur. There's real fighters know there's levels to this. And he's not ready for my speed. He's not ready for my power. He's in the comment section talking about, oh, you haven't been hit like elbows with me. I don't care. I've been hit with bats. I've been hit with plates, cups. I've been hit with so many things, and I have never been knocked out. The only thing I've been close to getting knocked out was a TKO, and I wasn't even dazed. They literally stopped it when I fought Ali Felice. If people don't know who he is, he's an Olympic trial, Golden Glove champion. He signed with Jay Prince. He the real deal. I fought him the first time. We went all 4 rounds. And then the next time they've been begging me to keep going back. Fight, yo, we want a rematch. We want a rematch. We want a rematch. Because he knocked everybody out, including that Rashad Kucher dude. And so I gave him, I let him do a rematch. And, it was bull crap from the beginning. He wouldn't let when I tried putting on the gloves, they wouldn't fit. And then Top Rank's like, oh, well, if you don't wear these, you can't fight. Then I had to get the commission to prove my own 10 ounce. It was just a shit show from the beginning. So, that being said, I've never been knocked out. I've never been knocked out in sparring. Nobody's dropped me, and I can't possibly see this dude that hit Victor with 13 elbows in a row and couldn't even put him down. So, like, what we really talking about, Garcia? He doesn't realize this isn't his shot. There's an A side and a B side for a reason. He's the B side, and he's gonna be by himself and on the ground when I'm done with him.
And listen, a lot of trash gets talked in the combat sports world, and it most of the time it's par for the course. Every once in a while, you have some guys talking some out of pocket stuff and things of that nature. But I don't think the overall confidence most of your combat sports athletes are to be viewed as talking shit. It's talking truth at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, literally. Especially when it come out my mouth. I don't say nothing that ain't true. I don't say nothing just for clout. I speak the truth, and I've proven it. I talk the talk and I walk the walk. I'm not just out here, talking shit, and then I'm out there looking sloppy or getting beat up. Or no,
Yeah.
I'm the real deal. I'm more of a fighter than inside the ring. I've been fighting my whole life. Like this organized fighting shit is a walk in the park for me. From everything I've been through in my life, like this, I train hard to fight easy. Like this ain't nothing. This is another walk in the park.
That's what they say. And as you're touching on your background, and like I'm sure you get asked this a lot of times when you wind up doing these type of interviews, but like, where did your backgrounds? How did you get involved into organized combat sports outside of, because most of the times when you see boxers and MMA fighters, some of them they got rough upbringings and they've had to fight out of necessity, and that's why they became who they were as they've gotten into the combat sports world as they gotten older. What's your story? What led you to boxing, dirty boxing, combat sports?
I mean, like I said, I've been fighting my whole life. I come out of Worcester, Massachusetts. We a city on its own that don't get enough credit. It's a tough city. And me being Puerto Rican, I had to fight every day. There's always someone talking shit or some kids trying to bully me because they're all these group of kids that you know what I mean. I just always had to make a statement. And that's where the wolf comes from. The wolf is not a facade. The wolf is not a persona made up character. Like the wolf really lives inside me, and anybody that really knows me knows who I am and knows who the wolf is. We two different people, and we coincide in the same body. So when I started off with Rough and Rowdy. It started. The organization started with Chris Smith, but then Dave Portnoy and Barstool bought him out and took over. So I did a couple events there, and my first fight there, I dropped a dude like over 100 pounds heavier than me. I dropped him in 4 seconds with a left hook. Boom! First 4 seconds of the fight. Mind you, I wasn't really training. I was smoking, drinking, still partying. I really wasn't a fighter. So I was celebrating too much and I got gassed out. You could see it in the fight. But then as the fights kept progressing, I took it more and more seriously. And then it was just at the point I'm like, what am I doing? This ain't going anywhere. They weren't really trying to promote me as much, stuff like that. So, I took an absence of leave from it and just went back to my daily routine as a father, working, blue collar type shit. And then at the time, my girlfriend, but my wife now, she's seen something that, no one else seen in me, and, basically gave me the opportunity to go hard. And the last 4 years I've been training. I haven't even collected a paycheck besides inside the ring. I've been able to just full on gas, foot to the pedal, gas to the floor, and been able to just train 2 times a day, 6 days a week, until I got my craft right. And I still train like that because I can't. My skin crawls when I go a day without training. but I'm able to, by the glory of God, I'm blessed to do what I love to do, and and shine that light and be able to perform.
And you touched on something that I don't think people fully understand on. When you have your other half and they believe in your dream more than you, nine
That
times out of 10, those athletes are the best athletes in the world. When you go look at the NFL, when you go look at the superstars, the biggest the biggest superstars, what is the thing that they have in common? They got that steady home environment where your wife is your biggest cheerleader, your biggest supporter. When that happens, that you find another way to level up, and it's just it's something you can't explain it, you can't talk it away. We need our other halves in order to push ourselves to that elite level.
I totally agree, man. Without her, I'd still be doing construction, and I wouldn't be where I am today. 100%. I could confidently say that.
Yeah, I just make sure we got to give the ladies love too, because they hold us down in ways that
Yep.
no coach can help.
She's right here too, by the way, driving.
See, she's right there. There you go.
Yep, she's always by my side. Even when I want to get rid of her, I can't. She's stuck with me.
No, it's one of those things. It's like, no, we're a pair. We're stuck together. It's like a tattoo. Yeah. You've already made that a commitment to go in on it, right? So.
Yep.
But couple fun ones for you. I wanted to get into. So today is the 41th anniversary of The Last Dragon, right? Okay. What is your favorite combat sports movie? Whether it be MMA, boxing, whatever. There's been a lot of good combat sports. I mean, hell, even the Smashing Machine just came in. I thought that was a really good movie, despite the fact that people pawned it and really didn't get a lot of love. I thought it was a good movie. I mean, you have The Warrior, you have Southpaw, you have obviously
those are all good ones.
You got the Rocky movies, and love them, hate them, indifferent about them, whatever. There's just so many of them. $1 Million Baby. There's so many things that we take from a lot of these movies that make them great. And it's hard, but what are some of your favorite combat sports movies?
I would definitely. I got a couple. I would definitely have to say. I believe it's Fighter, the one they talk with Mark Wahlberg, with Mickey.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Love that because I'm from Massachusetts, so that got to be. That's got to be my first one.
That's my favorite part of the movie is when what's called the girlfriend fought like the whole family.
Oh yeah, when she came outside and just started punching the sisters. Yeah. I definitely, but one that really resonates, I would have to say Cinderella Story.
Cinderella Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Cinderella Man. My bad. Yeah, Cinderella Man. Because he. All odds were against him. Everybody thought he was done and washed up, and man, he still came back with all that shit that was going on with the Great Depression, and man, that's what a lot of people don't see when it comes to behind the scenes of the fight. They just see the walkouts, the interviews. They don't see what we really deal with on an everyday basis. The struggles we have to deal with, the hardships we have to deal with, the pressure we put on our loved ones, because to be a real fighter, you have to be tapped. That's that's a trait that I don't care what anyone says. To be a great fighter, you have to have this switch, and you just have to be tapped where you just tapped. Sometimes that leaks into your personal life, and they got to deal with all that, the craziness, especially with me. I'm. Like I said, the wolf's not a persona, so 9 times out of my 10, my wife's dealing with my crazy ass a lot of the times. You know what I mean? But
right?
but back to the movies, definitely Creed and Rocky. They just get me hyped on it. Like I'll watch Creed and Rocky like the week of fight week just to get me amped up. That's another good underdog type movie. But one I really do like is Blood and Bone with Michael J. White.
All right.
I don't know if you ever seen that one.
No,
But
I
that
haven't.
was a
I
good
haven't seen
one.
all his. Just dude, Michael White does so much stuff, man. It's hard to keep up with all the stuff he does. He's done a lot of great movies that I don't think people have really got a chance to see. That's why I said it's really hard to give all these movies their proper love, because sometimes people just, that's another straight to DVD movie. Who cares about that? You know, it's like Michael White, the mixed martial artist I think that people should aspire to be like.
Yeah, I met him one time in Vegas at the Olympian convention, and I was like, "Yo, take a picture with me." He's like, "Bro, if I take a picture with you, I gotta take one with everyone." I'm like, damn, like, come on, like, so we were out there for the BKFC tryouts, but man, that dude's so cool, so humble. But yeah, so the movie basically was like, he was in jail, and then he had a buddy that had a wife and a kid on the outside, and this kingpin like basically tricked her out, and he basically fought street fights to get to the kingpin and beat him. It was just such a good movie. Like, I just love the underdog. Because I am an underdog. You know, a lot of people don't think I was able to get to where I am. I didn't believe I was able to get to where I am. You know, and it only took me 4 years to get my shot. You know, it would have happened last year, but you know, everything's on God's time, not my time, and you know, it's just the way it is. I just hope Rosenstrike is able to come back, because I need to put belt to ass to him. You know, just for the record, just to set the record straight that I don't duck nobody. You know, I really did catch a hip injury, and you know, but I wasn't even supposed to fight anymore. I was supposed to be. Doctors were talking about hip replacement surgery. But you know, I was just too young of a candidate to get it done. But by the grace of God, he completely healed me, and now I'm back stronger than ever, and like I never left.
Yeah, it's rough when you know you're starting to have like medical issues and stuff like that that hinder you're able to train and do this and do X, Y, and Z. So it's like the fact that you're back and you're you know getting ready to head to the peak of the mountain, man. It's a testament of the hard work that you've already put in, man. So it's like, you know, dude, I'm really intrigued to see this one just because you know, Chris spoke so highly about you when we talked on. You know, me and him has had many conversations over the past few months, and just you're one of those names that he happens to mention, and it's I'm glad we finally got you on here to kind of talk, catch up, we pick your brain a little bit. So, but it's one of these things, like you said, it's on God's time, man. You're so right about that. Like, because it's sometime like you think you're meant to do X, Y, and Z, and then God puts you in a place, man. He's like, you know what, you need to sit down for a minute. It's
yeah,
not.
he definitely made me sit, man. I was sitting in the hospital for 2 different occasions for a month straight last year. So,
and like we even like, and you just talked about like BKFC. Like, look at Pat Brady. Pat Brady completely tore his knee right before he made his BKFC debut. He wound up. He was at PFL and he ran into John Jones and he was like, "I'm done." He's like, "Why are you done? What are you talking about? You done?" He's like, "Oh, my career is over." And John talked him up a little bit. He's like, "You're not done, dude. You know, go see this doctor, go do this, do that. You'll be back." And then he had that year and a half run in BKFC where had some pretty big wins. He was able to retire, here in his hometown, after a big win over Bear Hill. So injuries ain't the end of everything. So regardless of what that. And we talk about doctors' diagnosis all the time. We were just talking about crazy movies. What about Bleed for This, right? How many doctors told Vinny Panzienza after he broke his neck that he was never?
I was just about to say that was another great movie. Another just good testimony on itself. Like, that dude, that neck he had screws in his head, man, and he was still training like that. Man, that to me right there, that makes me feel like such a pussy. When it comes, it really does. Like, and any other man don't feel that way. You're full of it because
Not just
that
that, like,
man
dude,
could go through
when
that
you
trials
found
and
that like he
tribulation.
didn't take anesthesia shots, he was basically like, "Here, take this off. I'm done. I'm ready to train and go do X, Y, and Z." And
And he did it.
Shows you that the fire inside of you is sometimes stronger than anything else.
And Yoel's another one. They need to make a movie on him. Man broke his neck and still went and competed in the Olympics. Correct?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the Olympics, but he went and competed and wrestled with a messed up neck and a fused neck, and it's still doing it to this day. Like one punch could just completely paralyze him, and he's still just
Kurt Angle.
Man,
Even Kurt Angle too.
Him. He's another one.
When did WWE for him was 10 years after the fact. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, dude, it's just all. It's all in the will. It's all in the heart, man. And you honestly put God first, because if I'm not mistaken, most of these men are God-fearing men. And when you put God first, it shows.
It's funny how that coincides too. When you look at combat sports, how many guys are believer in God, religious guys, God-fearing men.
Especially lately.
It's crazy. I'm like, it's like, man, just somebody you seeing leading the choir at church on Sundays, but Saturdays he's knocking skulls inside of a ring or a cage.
And it's a good feeling. It's a great feeling, and I love to see it. I noticed I've been seeing it more and more. Like even on this last BKFC event, pretty sure everybody that won, gave all glory to God. Man, little baby Hulk came out with a Bible, man. I thought that was the dopest thing ever, because people could ridicule him so much, but you can't,
especially in this, but also not just for that reason. Look at like where we are in this world, and it's like you're always
what's going on.
You're seeing all the overall thing is like we don't want to see God being pushed or this religion doing this, and we have to make room for that. Like it's not about that. It's whoever like if an athlete it's their faith in God is what they believe got him there. Then it's his faith in God is what got him there, and you should tell him to be quiet or not say this or not say that. Like I just sick of the political correctness when it comes to some of this stuff. And, I'm not a big political person. I don't give a fuck if you're left, right, green, orange, blue, purple. Like, none of that stuff bothers me. But it bothers me when you try to tell somebody how they have to go about and do their thing.
Right.
So that's all I'm going to say on that part of it. But we did lose a big member of the combat sports community, even though he was more probably known as an actor than anything. This past week,
a lot of people.
We lost Chuck Norris.
People don't know that. Yeah, a lot of people.
But here's the thing: when you look at it, because the reason why I pulled this one up out of all of them, this is all his professional combat sports records. He was in the karate tournaments. He was 65-5. His kickboxing record, he was 183-10-2. He was a professional middleweight karate champion from 68 to 74. Had the title for 6 consecutive years. All-American karate, named fighter of the year, founder of Jeet Kune Do, 10th degree black belt. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And obviously, we're all going to remember Chuck Norris for probably some type of movie, and that's fine. But like I just want to make sure that when we remember him, it's more than Walker, Texas Ranger, or when he did movies with Bruce Lee in the 70s. I want to make sure he's remembered for more than that. I mean, he became more remembered for memes in the last 10 years than he did for anything. But I mean, he all touched us in some way. How were you surprised when you heard that Chuck passed away?
I mean, I wasn't surprised. I mean, he was definitely getting up there in age. It's not like he was like 30 or what I mean.
Yeah.
He's still young. So I mean, everybody has their time, and everybody, like they're on God's time. So no, I wasn't really shocked. Was it sad? Yeah. It was funny though. Somebody made a meme and said, Chuck Norris decided to go to heaven. that one cracked me.
I also seen ones where like they gotta have him chasing the Grim Reaper, like he killed the Grim Reaper. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He's now the Grim Reaper. I'm like, oh, would y'all stop?
Yeah. So everyone has their time.
Yeah.
There's there's two things in this world you can't escape, and it's taxes and death. You
Nope.
know.
I agree with that. I agree with that, my
So
friend.
we all have our time. I'm just glad he had a legacy, he had a career. He was the man. He really
Yeah,
was.
he was the man on screen, off screen, in the
Yeah.
ring, at the ring. He was a legend in his own right in many different levels of things. So he'll
Agreed.
be missed. But I agree with you. It's not like super surprising, but like he's still considered like he was like 84. He wasn't in his 90s. He was
Yeah.
very very active through most of his life. So it's probably the more thing of the surprising part. Like he went in for a medical emergency and then he was gone the next day. It didn't make it like sound like he was in a dire situation. But I mean, when it's your time, it's your time, my friend. But some more fun stuff I kind of want to bring up. I usually talk to a lot of the athletes about this one. We always have this saying thrown around about the GOAT. This person's the GOAT of this. Tom Brady's the GOAT. Michael Jordan's the GOAT, right? I think the hardest way to kind of do that is in combat sports, just because there's so many different variables to it, different eras, different weight classes, the different sports, whether it's boxing, whether it's MMA, whether it's bare knuckle. You're in a completely new sport, so to speak, with what dirty boxing is, because it's a completely different rule set than what your traditional boxing is. So it's really hard to do this. So I always say I think the fairest way to do it is the Mount Rushmore way. Like, so if you were building your own, Rob's own Mount Rushmore of combat sports, could be, OGs, some of the newer era guys, whatever, who would be on Rob's Mount Rushmore of combat sports athletes?
I definitely would go John Jones. Nobody did it like he did it. And I'm gonna say this, like, to me, it's not how many wins you have. It's
No,
what makes
it's
a
not
fighter
wins
is
or
the
championships.
loss.
It's when we talk about Mount, it's who made a difference, who made an impact in the sport.
Definitely Mike Tyson. He was a knockout artist. I'm a big fan of David Tua. He didn't get as much credit as he should have, but that dude was a complete monster. John Jones, David Tua,
Last
Mike
one.
Tyson. One more. I mean, really, Connor. Connor.
And
I'd
I'm
put
glad
Connor up
you
there.
mentioned him, because I'm gonna go another way with this one, right? So obviously that's I think that's a really good Mount Rushmore. John Jones, his list from the time he won the title to I think mid 2010s was like a murderer's row of fighters that if you put most of the guys in his weight class, in his age range, whatever, against those guys in that era, no one's going undefeated through those guys, and John Jones did it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you feel about him as a person, what he did outside of the ring, whatever, however you feel,
Yeah.
but he is our era's GOAT. We'll see how he's received in the next 10, 20 years, whatever. Mike Tyson was an absolute nightmare for 90%
Everyone.
of the people he wound up fighting in his career. So you're right. David Tua doesn't get the love and respect that he deserves, and he was at a time where his division, there was just so many superstars, it was ridiculous. So
Yeah.
another one having to go through murderer's row type of guy. So I agree that he doesn't get his love, but Connor changed the game in another way. He brought
and
back,
that's why I respect it.
he brought not only did it wasn't just that he was talking trash, right, or hyping up fights, however you want to call it, but he was also changing the game in so many different ways. The pay scale, the viewership that he brought in, like everyone, like he had everyone invested in his fights, win, lose or draw. You were a happy fan, regardless if you bought the pay-per-view, if you went and bought tickets, if you flew out to an event to go watch him fight. You were happy with your investment after watching a Conor McGregor fight. And in that way, I think that's a lot of people were like, oh, well, he never defended a belt. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He didn't beat Khabib. I'm like, Khabib didn't even beat anyone good.
Yep.
Like, he has 3 title defenses. Everyone's talking like Khabib is like the greatest light heavyweight champion the UFC's ever seen. He retired before he could ever even get a chance to be dethroned. So it's one of these things where I can't give. A lot of people are like, why don't I can't put Khabib up there? Injuries and all that stuff prevented him from having major fights that he needed to have against top competition, and it's just how it works. I don't think that it takes anything away from him. He's not GOAT material. He's not Mount Rushmore material to me. Doesn't mean that he's not a Hall of Famer. Doesn't mean he wasn't a great fighter. It's just how I feel about Khabib, and I think that what we just discussed is why Conor's above that. Now, the other side of that is, like, a lot of people are still trashing this White House card. Everyone from
oh my God, I hate it.
You got Bullah Muhammad basically says it feels like the Hunger Games. Obviously, Ronda Rousey, she's been on a UFC hate tour, and it's not. Everyone thought she was talking crap on Dana White, but she wasn't. She's talking crap about the current people running it and how they're going about it. And a lot of Ronda Rousey's a polarizing person on herself in her own right, but most of what she was saying wasn't wrong. The fact that Conor McGregor isn't on that card is an absolute travesty. The fact that John Jones isn't on that card is an absolute travesty. Watching them go outside of their norm and comfort with the Zuffa boxing and paying a guy $15 million while not paying the guys that are under contract.
That is crazy.
Is an absolute travesty. Now, Conor's already made it clear that he kind of feels like that his contract is null and void since there's no pay-per-view. So, being that what he's changed, what he's done for the UFC, do you feel like he's giving them loyalty at this very moment that they currently don't have for him?
I mean, that's a touchy subject because
it is
because the promotion is doing what they think is best dollar wise, but the fighters want and the fans want what's best fight wise, and it's a hard in between, even with my boy Melky when he was doing the negotiation for Tempora, they were up all night trying to get this fight locked in, and was it the fight they wanted? Probably not.
Well, it's not. It's already been said it's not the fight they wanted, nor the one they were negotiating.
Yeah. So it's too corporate, Honestly, the UFC has just gotten too. It started off about the fighters for the fighters, and then now it's just a corporate business, and they're just trying to push numbers and money.
And that's why I said people say Ronda's polarizing, but she ain't wrong.
She's completely right. I mean, I wouldn't say she's going about it the wrong way because she's speaking her mind, but she's spitting facts. She's not dissing anybody. She's not like, oh, fuck Dana White. He sucks. I don't like him. He slapped his wife. Whatever. You know what I mean? She's right. Especially with the whole who they just pay. What's his name? Who they give the 15 mil to?
Conor Benn.
Yeah. It makes zero sense. And Conor Benn's not even that good of a boxer to even get that much right off the rip, And what has he done for Zuffa or for Dana? You know what I mean? It's all ticket sales. It's all, because he's a polarized boxer and he can bring in money. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. Because there's so many dudes and there's so many better matchups that could be put together that would make so much more sense for fight fans and everyone under the sun. But like I said, it's all about money now.
It is all about money, and it's sad because the fact that we're looking at an MVP promotion that's going to have 3 fights that very well should have happened either on the White House card or even currently in any big UFC event that they should have this year. The fact that we're seeing Netflix have Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano, have Michael Perry and Nate Diaz, have a big fight with Francis Ngannou. The fact that it's going to be on Netflix and not under a UFC banner is a testament to the change in the combat sports landscape, whether you're talking MMA or whatever. I've been sitting there saying it for the last 3 years. I feel that bare knuckle has been kicking the UFC in the teeth as far as popularity goes, as far as growth goes, as far as connecting with their fan goes. And BKFC, I don't even think they've even scratched the surface of what they could be potentially as a promotion, because they're still a bunch of babies. Let's be honest.
Still.
I mean, and I think even with what the promotion you're with, that Mike Perry's doing, what he's doing with Dirty Boxing, we're about to see what the 6th event. Mike is still just getting his feet wet, so the UFC better watch out, because it's not just the fact that stars are leaving, and whether you think they're falling stars or their best days are behind them, whatever, they're still popular with the fans, and they're going to get attention onto these other promotions that normally would have been going into your pocket. It's not anymore. And I think the UFC better open up and readjust what they're doing, or they're going to become irrelevant within the next 5 years. They're not building stars over there. They're not. And I think that's what you are seeing from these other promotions. So, go ahead.
And at the end of the day, the fans are the one that paid it. They sign the checks. They really do. With the whole John Jones thing and Dana White being like, "Oh, his hip is done." Blah 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 blah. I bet you right now, if it made sense, John Jones would hop on that White House card, hands down. John Jones did not once say, "I don't want to fight."
He thought he was. He thought it didn't matter what Dana White said, that he doesn't trust him or whatever. He thought no matter what, he was going to be on that card, and he tried to make sure
everyone did. I'm pretty sure the whole world was disappointed with the whole card. The remotely fight I'm actually intrigued on seeing is Pereira, just because he's going up to heavyweight. But that dude he's fighting, he's an eye poker. The whole camp needs to be put under investigation for eye poking. There's like 3 of them that be training
together.
The other
thing. This is Cyril Gane's 5th title fight. How is that guy getting 5 title fights in a span of 5 years? How is that possible? It's just another head-scratching moment where just you don't have the star power. Hell, you can even go back to the Cain Velasquez days. If you go into that time, can you imagine Cyril Gane getting a title fight against some of the level of guys that were there? Fabricio Verdum, Alistair Overeem, Brock Lesnar, Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos. Like, those guys would absolutely love to have a fight like that. And you're right. I don't like Cyril Gane's, I guess, his approach in parrying, because it does look a little pokey.
Yeah, definitely.
And everyone's like, "Oh, well, they can use it." You can't adjust that with the gloves of the guy's personal way. Like in MMA, it's very hard because you use your hands to grapple. So I get some aspects of it, but he's becoming like a serial guy that continually does this.
Yeah, repeated offender.
You can't defend it no more. You can't. And we're gonna have situations where we're gonna take some guy's eye out, and he's really gonna never be able to fight again. Everyone wants to make fun of Aspinall, but like, dude, you got to take care of your eyes, man. You don't want to be like Michael Bisping, or even who was the guy that fought in Manchester? Yeah, it's in the back here. Hold on. The one guy that fought in Manchester, he's been hiding from the commission the fact that he had eye surgery. He was going blind in the one eye, and through I think he had 9 surgeries over the years. But after that fight in Manchester, he basically said he can't do it no more because it's affecting his performance at this point in time. Like this is what like sometimes like someone around the fighter has to also protect them too. Like Michael Bisping fought more than a handful of fights with one eye, basically. We can't have fighters doing that, basically putting themselves in harm's way. And 9 times out of 10, they're doing this because they've been poked. So, got to be better there.
Definitely.
One of the things I came across, we were talking about before we came on air about reality TV shows and combat sports. Did you see that the Feldman brothers are getting ready to do a reality TV shows here coming in April? That Damon and Dave are going to have some type of reality TV show. Now, we haven't had a big one since The Ultimate Fighter kind of really make an impact on it. And I want to ask you this. Like, obviously, it's cool that Damon and Dave have a show, but what would you like to see combat sports-wise to a reality show to kind of help kind of build combat sports next upcoming stars, or even guys that have already been in there to kind of reaffirm their name in it? What type of reality show would you think it would take to kind of put that together?
I mean, some just more lines of the lines of just, their day-to-day, like, and then leading up to the fight, like say, UFC, they got, Alex Pereira and Gane, and then, they just follow them around for their fight camp and to see the people can see really what goes on behind the works, because these reality shows are not real reality. They're staged. They're, they put a bunch of fighters in the house for a week or 2 weeks, and people thinking it's like a 3-month expand, and all this is happening over time because they only get to see it every week. There's just so much production behind it and fabrication behind it that the reality doesn't become reality. It's just fabricated.
I want to see what the next reality show in combat sports is that's going to make a real difference. That's not The Ultimate Fighter, Tough, anything like that. So hopefully our boy, our mutual friend gets that situation going that he's trying to go. I don't want to get more into that.
Definitely got to put me on that one.
But
definitely got to put the wolf on that one.
I already think we're going to see more of you when it comes to what our good friend is going to be doing over there. So
definitely.
We're definitely gonna be seeing more of you. Obviously, you want to get about 2 more questions in, and then we'll wrap this one up. As we're talking about ridiculousness in the combat sports world, are you getting sick of Logan Paul and his nonsense? Right, because he's sitting there saying,
"Oh my gosh, I was just watching him
in a boxing match. He has two either former NFL players who had some type of boxing experience call him out. Then the WWE mysteriously calls him, says he can't have the fight. But what was he doing this weekend? Was he not playing flag football where he could have injured himself? Right, he could have slipped and fallen. His knee up there, right? But
he's not a Logan Paul needs to stop. He's not a fighter. He's still riding off the coattail of Floyd Mayweather, and even him, couldn't even knock out Floyd. As big as you are compared to Floyd, and the shots you did get to land, and you couldn't put him down, like, bro, no. Jake Paul is a different story, but Jake Paul needs to be put in his place too, because he's still he's one of those delusional fighters, and I guess breaking his jaw twice in 2 different places wasn't enough reality for him. So he need to come see the Wolf. And I definitely would love to put him in his place, especially how he's trying to exploit.
I'll give Jake respect that he's finally fought like a legit boxer. I don't think anything is going to put that guy in his place, but he's been dodging a lot of guys over the year. We know Kenzie Morrison has been hunting him down for about 3 years. He ducked Hasim Rahman's son. He's ducked real fights, real fighters that he could have used, whether we're talking nepotism or not, those guys have names and staying power inside the boxing world where those fights would have made sense. But I believe Jake Paul's team told Kenzie Morrison he doesn't have enough of a following for them to accept that fight. It's Tommy Morrison's son. What are you talking about?
Right.
Followers don't make a good fight. The fight makes the fight. It shouldn't matter if he's got 100,000 followers or 10,000 followers. It means absolutely nothing when it comes to getting in that ring. But the Paul brothers, they're athletes, but they're first off, Logan's not a boxer. He's 0-3 in boxing.
Yeah.
He's in my opinion, he's more of a WWE wrestler than he is a.
He's an entertainer. They both are just entertainers. They need to go back to Disney Channel where they belong, and leave the fighting for the real fighters.
Who ducked Hasim? Jake Paul ducked Hasim. He ducked Hasim, and he and. If he pulled out, it would probably been from injury, but I know both Hasim and Kinsey has called him out. Where he's at those times, I think the replacement for Hasim was Nate Diaz, if I remember correctly. It was either the Diaz fight or it was the Mike Perry fight. I'm not sure on the timeline of that.
And that's another thing. How are you trying to call yourself a boxer, but your beginning of your career is all MMA washed up fighters? You know,
my thing, like the way I look at that, like, all right, I'll give him this. Like, no one cut their teeth in the amateurs against the level of competition that Jake did, but they were, in my opinion, they weren't real fights. In my opinion, that anything from the Cesar Chavez fight on is where I consider him being officially a pro fighter, right?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, dude, like he was fighting UFC welterweights when he's a 200-pound fighter, right? You're fighting guys that are naturally 170 pounds. You're fighting older guys, all that stuff. Like, those are things that reason why Jake doesn't get the credit he deserves. The smartest thing he did was connect himself to Amanda Serrano. That was the smartest thing he did. And as a promoter, Jake Paul knows how to promote fights. It doesn't matter, but that you can't take that away from him. But to call him a ranked boxer or a high-level boxer, I can't do that yet.
No, and that's another reason why I have with Jake Paul, because I feel like he's exploiting my people, the Puerto Ricans, to make a quick dollar. Yeah, as he put Amanda on, sure, but
Amanda was on that path before she came across Jake.
Exactly, and don't go to start living in Puerto Rico to evade to get leeway on your taxes and be like, oh, I'm like now you El Gallo. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. You're not, bro. Don't try. That'd be like me trying to say, I'm the next Conor McGregor and I'm repping Ireland, and you know what I mean. It just don't make sense. You make yourself look stupid, Jake Paul. You really do.
Absolutely. Him being ranked 15 was BS. But remember, he was only ranked for a day before they removed him. They knew the mistake they made. Listen, I don't want to give Jake too much time, too much trouble. Regardless, he is who he is at this point. The real people in the combat sports world knows exactly who he is. Not sitting there saying he's not a good dude with good intentions. He needs to do a couple more things before he gets the level of credit that he's talking like he deserves.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. The other part that I wanted to kind of talk about before we touch on your fighting and let you go again is this month is Brain Injury Awareness Month. Now, it's one of the things that I'm gonna bring up all month until this month is over. I'm going to talk to whoever I talk to as far as combat sports athletes go. I'm going to ask them their thoughts on this. Talk to a bunch of different people. You athletes know where your limits are and stuff like this, and you know what you sign up for the most part when you are doing boxing, MMA, bare knuckle, whatever your combat sports poison is for you. But if you felt like there's something you think that could be done, should be done, isn't being done to kind of help prevent more of these kind of situations, the only thing I've ever come up with was hard sparring to kind of limit as much that as you can. Not to sit there saying do away with sparring, but hard sparring to kind of limit the potential of concussions, TBI situations, having brain injuries is no joke. It is something that is not going to escape the combat sports world. If you felt there's something that could be done, What are your thoughts, man? What would you change? What would you like to be implemented? You know,
Actually, we was talking about this with Big Boy about
yep.
a fellow. Well, not I wouldn't say fellow, but a BKFC ex BKFC fighter. That just doesn't have the insanity anymore. There should be, like wellness checks or psych evaluations. Yeah, if your brain's cooked, you shouldn't keep going. You know what I mean? Like look at for example, all the football players with CTE and their career ends and they're shooting their family up or they're, you know what I mean, or
Junior
offing
Seau
themselves
tried
out
to
of the
kill
blue.
himself 3 different times before he killed
Yeah,
himself.
yeah, yeah.
Junior
I mean,
Seau drove his car off a gorge, tried to kill himself another time. The third time he was finally successful. But CTE is a real thing. Brain injuries is a real thing for our active athletes. And I just want to and you're just talking about wellness check things, like anything that kind of prevent the fighter from continuing to accrue more damage, but also just to make sure that they're in the right space to be continually competing. I think it has
yeah.
to be done. So you're sitting there saying wellness check. So what would you say? A 5 year, every 5 year have a psych eval. Is that something you would like
Yeah,
to see?
or yeah, or even less, like or even after before every fight, like make it a requirement just as a blood test or a eye test or a physical. You should see that they're mentally fit to fight. You know what I mean? If they can't remember the words that you just told them to memorize, that's a problem.
Yeah.
There's something going on with their brain, and it's sad because CTE is a diagnosis that we don't even know until after they dissect the brain, and they're like, oh, look at his brain, it looked like Swiss cheese. So it's just something that they should put more investment into, or they should care. There should be more aftercare for fighters or retired fighters to have an out to make sure that they're okay, that they're still doing good, that they're because it doesn't just affect them. They got families still. They got people
Yep.
around them that suffer as well.
It does, and a lot of correct things said. CTE, TBI, stuff like that. Those are things that you're not going to be able to have diagnosed or figure out till after the athlete is no longer with us. And football is the prime example of that. I don't want to see it kind of run through MMA, boxing, bare knuckle, whatever. I don't want to see us lose more athletes down that road just because there isn't any other type of checks that we can do to kind of make sure that these fighters aren't running themselves into the ground. And then these promotions are then, you're making blood money off their name. You're making blood money off their name, and that's I don't think anyone wants that. And you even seen some precautions that BKFC puts in place on age, on consecutive losses and things of that nature. They're trying to make sure
Yeah,
their hands are clean when it does come down time for some of these guys to have to do it. Like, listen, that they're doing what they need to do to make sure that it's not happening, that they're not making blood money, and I
yeah,
applaud them for that. I don't think that their current setup is 100% going to help them in that way. Maybe it helps Dave and some of the other guys behind the scenes make them feel better that they're at least attempting to push this in a right direction. But I mean, no matter what we do, what we implemented, it's never going to be enough because like we said, we don't know until whoever passes away, and if their family decides to even do do the proper procedures to see if they had it or didn't have it. So, but as far as the man we mentioned, I think I think there absolutely should be. Even the day he was let go, did you see the post he made with him and the shovel in his car?
yeah. Man, that's
Like,
like I
I mean,
said, it's crazy,
that's not
bro.
a normal reaction, and that
Yeah.
and somebody said to asking him about it. Like, granted, like, all right, like it was just a shovel, but like your
What was
mindset
the intent
then
behind it? Yeah,
to do that and then record it and post it on social media, I think speaks volumes.
yeah.
So I mean, I'm not, I love all the promotions. I try to be as neutral as a media member as I could possibly be, and just because Zach's going to be on that BKB card, I'm not tuning in. I'm not going to watch it because I feel like he shouldn't be in the sport right now. He should be getting care to make sure that he's in the right place mentally, physically, and everything in between to be able to compete. And the athletic commissions can't do enough because 9 times out of 10, they go off of what physicals and stuff that they require, and it changes from state to state. So it's a rough situation. I hope that he isn't dealing with some type of traumatic brain injury, but we're not going to know that for years to come, unfortunately. So wish him the best, but he needs to get out of combat sports at least for a little while. So and some of us are just quirky people as it is, anyways. Some of us are naturally just freaking nuts, but I don't think that's what we're seeing here. But as we wrapping this one up, obviously, you got a great event going on April 10th. You're the main event.
I'm always the main event.
Obviously, we're gonna see who's the next champ. If you're sitting there and when you're dreaming tonight of how this is gonna play out, how does it play out? I know you already said you feel like he's not on your level. You're gonna put it away. But if you got the betting savants out there and they're like, Rob, man, what round are you gonna do it on? I'm about to drop 2K on you. What round are you telling me you're gonna do this? How does it all come about for you?
I see this going past the first 3 rounds. I don't. He's never fought more than 3 rounds. And in the 3rd round with Levi, he was like chilling on the ropes, gassed out. So I hope his cardio is up there, but I'm used to taking fighters and drowning them in those later rounds. He's I don't want to sit there and say I'm gonna knock him out. I'm not focused on the knockout. What I'm more focused on is showing the fans that the Wolf's back and putting on the best performance I can. So whether that he gets dropped in the 1st round, the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, it happens. But I know when all rounds are said and done and that final bell rings, I will be crowned champ because there is no DBX without the Wolf and there's no Wolf without DBX. Said it before and I'll say it again. He's not on my level. I'm not underestimating the dude whatsoever. He does throw elbows, and elbows could get sticky and dangerous and slicey and all that shit. I'm a different breed. I've taken the hardest hit from the best boxers outright, best heavyweights out right now, and I still walk him down. He doesn't have that power. He's a Muay Thai fighter. He doesn't put his weight in his feet. He's like half the time when he's throwing his 2, his back foot is in the air or he's on his tippy toes. He doesn't sit on his punches. I don't see he doesn't possess the power a big man should. He need to drop a weight class and because he's not built like a heavyweight. He's just tall and fat.
He's the big country for DBX.
He's the Michelin man. He got no muscle definition. And I'm not saying that muscle's everything, but let's be real. You got to have some type of muscle to create power. It's just your power just doesn't come from your bones and your ligaments. Your power comes from your muscle. And if you don't got muscle and you're just all flat, I don't even know if he's gonna be able to take the body shots that I'm about to deliver. And the man got like 4 inches on me. Man, that lower body is that's gonna be sitting right in my face all day. He got no abs that are gonna protect him. Or man, I'm gonna destroy him. He's gonna see. I'm done with all the talking. He's gonna come see April 10th. And he's going to regret it, just like all last 3 of my opponents have regretted it. And mind you, they were all in the UFC, and one of them was in the NFL. You know what I mean? And if they couldn't put me down, what makes you think you're coming off of 2 amateur fights and 1 pro fight and these 2 lame-ass DBX so-called wins, you want to say you undefeated? Bro, it's not the same. There's levels to this. and he's not ready. I know he's not ready. You can hear it in his voice. I don't know if you've seen his.
I seen the video you put up yesterday.
Yeah, I gotta be. I feel like I'm arguing with myself because he's not. He ain't. You know, and I'm not saying everybody got to be all rah rah rah. You know, I get some people are nonchalant and they're quiet, but you can hear it in his voice when he talks. He's not ready. I don't know who he's trying to fool, me or himself. Pretty sure himself, but he's not ready for what I'm about to bring to him. I got so much pain, so much hurt, so much fury, so much willpower, God on my side, and I'm gonna dominate him like I always do all my opponents. You know, it'd be one thing if, like I said, I'm talking shit and then I'm getting dropped or beat up. That's not the case. I'm speaking words of affirmation. I'm speaking my words into existence. It says in the Bible that your tongue is a powerful weapon, you know, and I don't use those words lightly, and I don't use those words just for entertainment. Like, I mean it when I say it. Said it when I fought Alex. I was going to drop him in the first round. Wasn't saying that to look cool in front of the camera. I felt that shit deep inside.
Listen, you know, like I said when we started this one, sometimes it's necessary. It's part of the sport. Some guys ain't meant for it.
Yep.
After April 10th, I got to ask you this one just because it recently happened. You know, DBX is now sanctioned here in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir. I'd love to come out to Philly. I used to live in Philly. You know, so
when the DBX made the announcement, they were like, well, where should we go first? It has to be Philly. Listen, nothing against Pittsburgh or anything or any other city in the general area, but I mean, Philly has to be the destination for it just because Philly's a fight town as it is anyway. So it makes more sense for you to do it in Philly. Hopefully it is something we see before the end of the year. And if that is the case, you know, obviously you said you'd love to fight in Philly. Would you love to be a part of that event the first time they come to Philadelphia or PA in general?
I need to be on that event. I need to be when they go to Atlanta. I need to be when they do the day before the White House in DC. Man, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but there's, you know, the people speak, the people say it themselves, man. I get it all the time. Bro, when you coming back? DBX ain't the same without you. I've seen the last 3 events. They suck. Like, I'm just meant to be, I'm a DBX bred fighter, and, you know, that's just how it is. Like, nobody's doing what I'm doing in this combat sport right now. And, you know, I'm just going to keep thriving off of it, keep eating, you know. I don't fear. No man puts fear in me. I fear God. That's the only person that could ever put fear in my heart is God. Man, I've fought bigger dudes in the street. I fought dudes with weapons. Like, these dudes are nothing to me. Then I'm not scared of them. I'm scared for them of me more than you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just love to fight. I really do. I love it. I'm glad by the grace of God, I'm able to do what I meant to do, and I found my purpose, and, you know, and I just love it. I really just love it. I love fighting.
Sometimes it's just who we are, my friend. But as we wrap this one up, what I typically do is kind of throw the proverbial microphone over to you, Rob. Anyone you would like to thank, training partners, teammates, shoot out your social media sites, any sponsors you have, any parting shots for the listeners that are tuning in today. The time is yours, my friend.
So make sure April 10th at the James L. King Center, baby. Wolf versus Mr. Michael Garcia is going down. You got to get your tickets if you're in the area. I promise you, this is a fight you don't want to miss. When they crown me that belt, it's going to be over. Ain't nobody taking that strap from me. So make sure you tune in. If you can't pull up, make sure you watch it live. First and foremost, you know, I got to thank God. I got to thank my coach, Daniel Dotman. I got to thank my beautiful wife for always holding me down. And I got to thank my sponsors. You know who you are. And let's get it, baby. The Wolf's back, and it's hunting season till I say so.
All right, Rob. Really appreciate your time today. Go enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Best of skill for you coming for this fight. I know you got this. Sometimes, you know, people say best of luck. I say best of skill because you guys sacrifice a lot. put a lot in your craft to be able to get in that ring, that cage, wherever you guys happen to be going for your fights. But appreciate the time. We definitely got to do this sometime again in the future, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Enjoy your evening, Rob.
Take it easy. God bless.
God bless. All right, everyone. That was the one, the only Rob the Wolf Perez for Dirty Boxing Championships. He is going to be vying for the DBX Interim Championship April 10th. Guys, make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're showing them some love. Other than that, this was another episode of The Real and the Rare. I'm Steve. And we will be back. I have a few more interviews lined up for next week. So, guys, make sure you're locked in. QR codes up there. Make sure you're heading over to the South Florida Tribune's YouTube channel, Facebook channel, X, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Showing us some love there. We're getting closer to 2K subscribers on YouTube and getting ready for our next giveaway. I already got somebody in mind who's been very engaging through all our shows. Other than that, another fun one in the books, you guys. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate the comments in the chat as well. Other than that, I'm Steve. This was another episode of The Real and the Rare. Catch you later, folks. Peace out.